Jesus goes into hell. Jesus goes into hell and he makes war with everything that stole all your birthrights, everything that's stolen, everything of good, everything of truth, everything of honesty, everything of love, everything of joy from your soul. He went back so that your soul can be reunited back to God. So he stripped them of all the power that Adam gave them the right to. Remember, when Adam did what he did, it allowed them to cover the soul. So if it covered the soul, it was able to implement thoughts of death or thoughts of fear, and which means you're going to only think that that's the way to go, so you're going to serve it. You're going to walk accordingly, and you're going to think that it's wise. But all that does is lead you away from God's goodness, which is where the cursing is. Okay, all right. So Jesus went down and took all that back. He stripped them of everything that they took from Adam. Stripped them clean. So now, here comes the eternal life part. He rise up with all power. By the power of the Father, he rise up with eternal life. So now that the believer will never see death. Going back to this, the only time that a person can honestly leave this body is two ways. Is one way is either that individual soul is serving death, and that soul leads them by the ways of sin to death. That means they're still stuck in fear and they're surrounded by death and they're going to die that way. All right. Or if they're born again and the Father, what I mean by born again is that the Father can dwell with them. They are in fellowship with the Father. That means the soul is restored back to its original state, and that the soul was only made for good thoughts of the Father. You only think of things that are lovely, that are true, that are kind, that are good, that are pure, that are honest. That's where you vow yourself to be. You don't want to move. You're fully persuaded to stay there. Now the Father can come to your soul and he can talk with you. That's why nothing on the earth that the enemy can offer you, or anything that the trends, the fads, whatever is going around, it means nothing to you. It's nothing. You're not trying to do what everybody's doing because you see something greater. You don't see something greater. You have something greater. So now you can speak. Now when the Father is with you, you become one of the same as him, like you was in Genesis 1:26. You are in the likeness and the image of God. Now you can speak those things to be though that is not. This is what Abraham was able to do, of being 100 years old and his wife being 90 years old. And God said, you're going to produce a body. You're going to not produce a body. You're going to produce a child. And he tells God, like, well, how is it possible? And look at the deadness of our wombs. I mean, in other words, our stuff don't work anymore. So, but since they had faith in God, this is the power of God. Anything that's considered impossible becomes possible. But it's hard for a person without God, or the Spirit of God being inside their soul. It's impossible for them to believe in the impossibility. It's impossible. Because fear rules their soul. And it restricts them from honestly believing that anything is possible. In good. Anything's possible with God, that is. And anything that God is only going to be a part of, anything that supports, defends, and attached to love. With that being said, my people of faith, you are the blessed. Let's be the blessing. Let's keep walking.